Namaste, everyone. Thank you for coming back and joining me for another pleasure party intervention, understanding of the possibilities of goodness that we all have inside of our bodies. Especially you ladies out there, it's really, really important to remember that you have erogenous zones from the top of your head to the soles of your feet. And that's because the creator of all things wants you to have pleasure. Now, you might not know that because our society has taught us that we are secondhand to the process. We are just there to receive the sperm so we can make babies. But you know what? We have one area of our body, which is the clitoris, that has no other purpose other than pleasure, other than orgasm. So don't tell me that the creator doesn't want us to enjoy our sex lives. Today, I'm going to have a conversation with a good friend of mine. Her name is Paulette, and we're going to talk about what it is to be sexually confident, as a woman especially. Now, I can't speak for men because I'm not a man, but I most definitely can speak for women, or as a woman, because I definitely am a woman, and so is my friend Paulette. So without further ado, let me bring my girl on. Hey, Paulette, how's it going, girl?
Hey.
Yeah. This is a crazy world we live in. This is a really crazy world we live in. Yeah. I mean, for a long time, women were treated as if they were nothing more than receptacles for men. And even today, I feel like they are hard pressed to represent themselves and to achieve any kind of physical or emotional satisfaction with their lovers. So do you think it's something that women can unlearn, that kind of thinking? They can unlearn it and really start to love themselves and really start to think that they deserve pleasure as well? You understand? So many women are just there for him to use and don't have a voice in it, right? Mm-hmm. And I think we're shortchanging ourselves in our place and time. I mean, as women, we have erogenous zones from the top of our head to the soles of our feet. So why wouldn't we want to have the pleasure that is inherent in our body, right?
Yes.
So what do you think?
Well, me personally, I feel as though a lot of women have low self-esteem. That's one. And they're not confident in themselves. They pour into men, but the men don't pour into them. Even though you may feel like you're beautiful, it still feels good for your mate to say, you're beautiful, you look lovely, I love your body. And to where you don't feel ashamed, right?
Right.
To be naked. And a lot of women don't like to be exposed because they don't feel sexy. They don't feel beautiful. And a lot of that is due to a lack of self-esteem, I think. Cultural reasons as well, but a lot of it, I think, is due to self-esteem, low self-esteem.
Right. So can that be corrected? In other words, can a person take steps to learn to love themselves? I mean, because that's a way of thinking. I mean, it is true. If you grew up having people belittle you or make you feel less than beautiful, at one point in your life, can a person let that go and understand that those people were in their judgment, but that doesn't make it true? Just because somebody thinks whatever they think, it doesn't make it true. And at one point you have to let that go and really say, this is my life. This is my body. My body is wonderful. It has housed me. It has helped me. It has saved me from death. And I trust it and I love it. And anybody who's lucky enough to come and have playing time with this needs to be deserving, because I love myself. You know, I mean, it's really, really
Yeah.
important that you can hold on to anguish for a
Mm-hmm.
lifetime. And
True.
we all go through something or periods of time where we are made to feel less than
Mm-hmm.
anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But at one point you have to realize that you're really no better and no worse than anybody. We're
That's true.
just, you know what I mean? We're just people, and we're doing the best we can. And if you
Mm-hmm.
love yourself and you know you deserve pleasure,
Yes.
I think that's it. You have to know you deserve pleasure. I think if you think you're less than, maybe you think you don't. Maybe you
Yeah.
think it's okay to just, get any
I, I,
attention you
pers-
can. What do you
you know what
think?
I think? I personally, this is me, and a lot of women don't know their potential, right? Once you know
Right,
your potential, you build up your confidence, right? Once you start knowing what you like and what you don't like about your body, and what pleases you and what what I'm saying, satisfy your needs,
right,
then that boosts up your confidence. So it
right,
doesn't matter if you're fat, skinny, big chest, small chest, it does not matter. You have
right,
to
right,
pleasure yourself first. That's number one.
right,
Pleasure yourself
right,
and please yourself, because then you know what to expect from someone else. Then you can tell him
right.
what you want because you know what you want already,
That's right. That's right.
right? I
I
mean,
think that happens
that's
for a
just
lot of
me.
women in their 30s. I think that happens in their 30s. In their 20s, they're just wanting to please, wanting to look cute, wanting to be fucked by the guy that they want the most. They just need to be needed. And when you're in your
Yeah.
30s, you're starting to think, wait a minute, I'm really
Because
very good at what
well,
I
one,
do
your
over
body
here.
changes. You know that.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
very
Ellen,
true.
your
Yeah,
body changes. Your
right.
body changes. Like, whoa, wait a minute now. Ooh, was
Yes,
that an
right.
orgasm? Yeah, it sure was. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right,
when you're in your 20s, you're just getting it just to get it. You
right,
know, you're not
right.
getting anything out of it. You're just doing it just to do it. But as you get older, you realize that it's mental, right?
Hmm.
And you
Yes,
gain something from it. You gain something
right,
from it. And it's just not about sex and making love, right? It's about
right.
becoming intimate,
Right.
not just with your partner, with yourself as well. So,
That's right.
I mean,
When you know
that's
you
just my
deserve,
take.
when you know you deserve to have pleasure, then you can expect it. If you don't know that you deserve pleasure and you just leave it up to someone else, see, that's what the
Yes.
20 somethings do. They just leave it up to someone else. But I think what women in particular need to remember is that, number one, they're all unique in what they like and what they don't like. Number two, no
Yes.
booklet comes with instructions
No.
on how to turn this particular woman on. Okay. And the
That's
way
right.
to be able to educate your lover is to, number one, know yourself, what you like. Do you like
Mm-hmm.
strong? Do you like medium? Do you like rough? What do you like? And,
You may like it
have
all.
open, have this open communication. That's right. Well, you can,
Yeah.
but if you have a communication, when you need soft, you got it. And when
Mm-hmm.
you need a little bit more, you got that too, right? But
That's
you
right.
have to have that open communication. So I think that's number one, is in being able to express yourself and to know that you deserve pleasure and sort of
I
stand up
agree.
for your orgasm. You're standing up for your orgasm. You're standing up for your body. I think that's really important, right?
Mm.
Right? Okay. Um,
I agree.
I think it's
I agree.
important that women take care of, well, if you don't know what turns you on because you're embarrassed to touch yourself, or you think there's something sinful about it,
Mhm.
or you think it's dirty, or you think it's desperate, or you think whatever the hell you think,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah. Some women think that, you know.
If they don't have a man, they can't have sex. And you know what
Yeah.
happens to your pussy when you don't have some sex regularly?
You lose
Your
it.
shit
You
dries
lose it.
up. That's right. The elasticity in your vagina goes away. It dries up. And, it can happen faster in your 30s. The 30s, you're still pretty juicy.
Wow.
But if you're not having regular sex, by the time you're 40, your vagina is definitely starting to dry out. And by the time you hit 50, especially if you go into menopause, it's going to be very uncomfortable.
Time is up. Your time is up.
Right. But if you have been paying attention and taking care of that area and giving it what it needs, even if there's not somebody around to assist you, then your stuff can stay juicy for a lifetime. And I think that's part of the confidence of knowing that you're a sexually active, interesting, hot, desirable woman, is that your stuff works and it works really well. And if somebody
and don't be ashamed of it. Some women are ashamed to just be naked. I mean, not naked in the sense of, no clothes on, just being their authentic self. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to scream, you want to yell, you want to moan, just let loose. Be who you are.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's about you, boo. Don't get
no, you're
don't
very,
get shortchanged. You know what I'm saying? It's about you at the end of the day. So if you're not, you can't please him if you're not pleasing yourself. It's a two-way thing.
Right. And the thing about the voice, you just said the voice, and that also, not only is it important to verbalize, it's called irolalia anyway, and it is linked to your orgasm. Your voice is linked to your orgasm, so that when it is the swelling of energy inside of you that is going to explode in a white light, like if you have your eyes closed and you see what an orgasm looks like, it looks like a white light inside your body. It's like, wow, like this, okay? And it is an explosion of energy, sexual energy. And there has to be a sound that follows the explosion. I mean, I've never heard any explosion that didn't have some kind of a bang, right? So if you hear an explosion, there's a bang with it, right? Well, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Your body is building this thing up, and there's got to be some kind of a sound that comes out that sort of indicates that moment. That's right, where it comes up and out, right? And if you stifle your voice because you are afraid of fill in the blank, I'm afraid.
You're embarrassed. You're embarrassed. You're vulnerable.
I'm afraid. You know what happens? You also stifle your ability to have the orgasm. It's like by you stifling your voice, you are putting the kibosh on your ability to come.
So let me ask you a question too. For the men, and I know you're not a man, but for the men, what do you suggest for a man that's not verbal? Because some men are not verbal. They just they're not verbal. Yeah. So are they getting the full benefits as well? Yes. Or
they're very different than women. They're very different than women. Their excitement is very penis centered and visual. So if they're looking at the object of their desire and they are appreciating her position, her hair, her skin, it's a very tactile kind of thing, then it's not such a it's not the same kind of explosion. So if a guy ends up having an orgasm and he does not let out sounds, is that what you're talking about? Letting out sounds during the orgasm? Or letting out sounds? Just
like a zombie or something.
He's stifled. Yeah. Well, his orgasm is very different than ours. He has an ejaculate and he kind of like has a habit of what it feels like. So I want to tell you something. His habit is probably that he's not having the best orgasm. I'll tell you quite honestly, because voice is definitely attached to the intensity of the orgasm. Now, everybody's orgasm is a habit. Okay. And if he is willing to let go and to take his time and to feel the distance and build it up so that, 20 minutes later of all kinds of stimulation, not just a thrusting, but all kinds of stimulation, he's going to have an orgasm, then then it's going to be a noisy ending. Okay.
Yes.
Never gonna. I don't think it's ever going to be as loud as a woman, but I think that they also make their noises
Never
too, and
know.
they need. I think they need to make their noises too, because I think they've settled for less in its intensity.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
not all orgasms are equal. If a guy has an orgasm in less than 2 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes of stimulation, he's just barely taking the top off of that intensity. He's got
Yeah.
like intensity like this, and he just barely took the top off. But if he waits, he
Mm.
builds intensity. If he waits, if he
Wow.
postpones, if he puts it off until he can't take it anymore, then it's this explosive dynamic thing that you would definitely
Mm.
have to let some kind of noise out. So if he's low level down here, it's not the best orgasm in the world. But you know what? You can't tell him that. You can't tell him that. You know why? Because he won't believe you. He's never experienced the other. He thinks that you're full of shit. It can't be like that. But he'll never, ever know, because he hasn't experienced it, that he has settled for a low level orgasm. And you know what? To me, all orgasm is great. But I got to tell you, especially with guys, they're great, but the prostate has to be involved. And if it's not, there could be prostate problems in the future. But I'm not worried about guys. I want to get back to sexual confidence for women, because we could talk about guys all day.
Exactly.
Listen,
that's 2 shows. We may be on it.
I couldn't hear you. You're all broken up. What did you say? Are you speaking?
I said we may be on here forever. We want to go into that.
Yeah, it's true. So, okay. That's another indicator, though, for helping a woman gain sexual confidence, is being comfortable with her sound. That she not only speaks the words that she needs to express to her lover of what kind of things she enjoys and what kind of things she likes, because she has to educate him, but also when they are in the throes of passion, that she allows her voice to bubble up and let out the sound, the squeak, the squeal, the moan, the groan, the whatever sound is emanating from her body because of the sensation that she's feeling, And I think it most definitely not only adds to the intensity of the orgasm, but it most definitely adds to the self-confidence, the sexual self-confidence of the individual, because you are authentically being yourself. Just like you were saying before, be who you are, enjoy what you enjoy, and let it out. Don't be ashamed of it. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand why anybody would be ashamed of their voice, but I understand why people would be worried, shy. I understand that, but compensate for it. You know what I used to tell my girls at pleasure parties? I would tell them, if you're a screamer, put a pillow over your face and scream into the pillow, but definitely let that voice out. Let that voice out.
Is it safe to say it's okay to lose yourself in the moment? Because a lot of women are afraid to lose their self. You know what I'm saying? You can lose yourself as long as you come back. You understand what I'm saying? But you have to be comfortable losing yourself. That's the way you're going to get the full. Come on, somebody. You're really going to get what you came there for. Honestly.
Right. I think you're right. Like,
no, don't. It's not going to happen. You're going to be dried
up. When a person is in the middle of a sexual orgasm, they are at their most vulnerable. The look on their face, the way their body might be, is like they are totally in the most vulnerable, open state. And it has to do not only with trusting your partner, but being comfortable with yourself, and being okay with letting it all hang out. because if you can't let it all hang out, if you can't do that, you really are cutting yourself off from pleasure. And that's the whole point. The whole point is that orgasm is good for you if it's mind, body, and spirit all working together. And that's
right.
self-acceptance, it's self-love, it's deserving and knowing that you deserve pleasure and speaking up for yourself. I think that is the key to sexual self-confidence. Because, you know, as you said before, we come in all shapes and sizes, and there's a lid for every pot, you know? So there's going to be someone who finds you absolutely freaking adorable, exactly the way you are. And just because you're not somebody else's cup of tea, that does not mean you are less desirable. That just means you're not their cup of tea. Okay? To each his own.
You somebody putting sugar in you, baby. Okay.
You know, there are some women that some men find absolutely stunningly beautiful, like that. And I'm not going to mention any names because I don't care one way or the other. But then there are men that look at those same women and say, she's not beautiful. Take that makeup off of her. She has no ass. She has no tits. She has no this. She has no. And they're looking at her like, who are you kidding? That's your idea of beautiful. That's not my idea of beautiful. So beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And,
it is.
You know, you can recognize that and be one of the many different flavors that the Lord has put on the earth. Just be that one delicious flavor that you are, and know that somebody will love you just the way you are, taste you, love you, and want to just gobble you up.
That's true.
Because you are his cup of tea or her cup of tea, however you feel. And I don't care about that binary shit because it's either a him or a her. And I know I'm pissing people off, but you got a vagina, you're a girl. If you got
that's it. That's all. We're gonna leave it right there.
Yeah, leave it right there. Anyway,
please.
I think this was a lot of fun, and I hope we could do it again. Because I love talking to you.
I hope so.
Yeah. Oh, I do. Yeah. Gemini, that's the communication side. That's right.
I love it. Listen, I love it. But you know what? One thing I'm going to add to this. One thing I've noticed is that you may not be the most attractive woman in the world, right? But if you have confidence, a man will be drawn to you. No, a man will be drawn. I've seen men drawn to women with confidence more so than a beautiful woman.
Yes.
That confidence, when you know what you got and you know who you talk, they love it. That makes you beautiful. It really does.
Yes. Right. So. You're so right, Paulette. You really, really are. That's the a nice thing to include, because confidence is sexy. Confidence is attractive. Confidence is beautiful, and it's alluring. And we're not talking, confidence isn't necessarily what you're wearing or how long your nails are or, any of that. I mean,
it's a swag.
Right. It's that there's a person behind that likes themselves and knows that they deserve goodness. They don't deserve any of the riffraff. They deserve goodness. So if I'm going to bring good, you got to bring good too. And you got to know you're bringing good. So if you know it, then they can appreciate your energy and where you're coming from, because it's attractive, very attractive. Yeah. This was a lot of fun. We have to do this again. Okay.
We got to do it again. I don't mind.
Absolutely. Well, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I think talking about anything that has to do with sexual pleasure, sexual confidence, acceptance, self-love, these are topics that, both of us enjoy discussing. So, having you to talk to is wonderful. And I would like to do it again. All right.
Same here.
So
Can't wait.
So much for being here, and I will talk to you again soon. Okay. All right.
Okay. We'll talk soon. All right. Boo.
Okay, baby. Okay.
You,
I'm gonna
you
turn
too.
it
Talk
off.
to you later.
All right. Bye.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Your Pleasure Incorporated into Daily Living. I am a proponent of people loving themselves, not comparing themselves to anybody else, not looking at what others have or can do or whatever, but of knowing that you deserve a life because you have one, and then opening yourself up to opportunity and to joy because of the self-acceptance and the fact that you don't want to compete with everybody else. Competing is going to kill you as far as your mental health. So self-love is super important. And confidence comes when you learn to love yourself first. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Your Pleasure Incorporated into Daily Living. I'll see you next week when we have another talk about something that has to do with pleasure. Bye for now. Do your Kegel.